Hey yo, what's up guys, CubeyBoyo here, and today I'll be doing my second critique. This critique is for CubeyBoyo. His social medias will be down in the description. So for the first solve, you did white cross here. So what you did is, instead of actually solving a cross, you actually solved an arrow. So for those who don't know what an arrow is, I don't have a spare 3x3 on me right now. I'll just go and grab this because I'm not using this. It's the same exact scramble. So what you do is you only solve 3 of the 4 pieces. So this is an arrow, and it's similar to in Rue, where you have like 3 misoriented and then 1 oriented. That's also an arrow, because this looks like an area. This looks like an arrow if this is gone. So that's why this is called arrow. So here, what you did for the arrow is you held white on the front, then R prime U2, then you rotated, then D L prime or L, which is fine. I mean, it's just perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong with it. And then afterwards, you did this for your first pair. And then afterwards here, what you did was that you rotated, and then you took this out, and afterwards you rotated again, and then you inserted it. What you could have done is, even like if it's still from here, let's grab a different cube. So here, after you solve this first pair, this should be fairly easy to see, because you can already track this from inspection here. And afterwards, you just have to look at what comes out from here. This matches this, and then from experience, I know that these will pair up. Then instead of rotating, solving this right away, you could just pair up and insert that. And then afterwards, if you're more advanced, you can go and solve that pair. And then you have a pretty bad last law, but it's fine. If you didn't make the arrow, what I would have done is R prime F2, same solution. It's not technically R prime F2, so you're still keeping white on front. So R prime U2, D prime, then a wide L, a wide R prime, then a D to solve this, then an L2 prime. This is still here, and it's still quite easy to look ahead for pieces, even though, yeah, you're in kind of a bad spot, but it's still like good cases regardless. So here, after solving this and solving your first pair, what you did, you rotated the U prime U, then you rotated again, and then solved this in the front. That's a pretty bad habit, and you don't want to do that, because right here you could have just inserted right way into the back. For your third pair, you did a U, you rotated, then you rotated back for some reason, I don't know why, and then you did L prime U2 L, and then afterwards you did a Y prime, then you did a U prime, U prime, and then L prime, U prime L. What I would have done here in this case is I would have done a U2, or you could just do a U here. They're both pretty much the same. L prime U2 L, and then afterwards here. So it's basically your solution, but with less rotation, so you don't have to do like the Y prime, the U Y prime, and then Y back, and then solve this. Or you could just do the U and then do a Y prime, and then solve this from here, because it's the same exact solution. But continuing on with what you did, here you got a bit lucky, you got a free pair. This one you just insert into the back, it's fine. OLL was perfectly fine. And then PLL, I don't know, I've never seen people use this finger trick before. So what you did is you re-gripped to the bottom, which is already bad, because you don't really want to do that. So you did R, U, R prime, then F prime with your index finger like this. R, U, R prime, U prime, and then you just finished it. Normally, like even if you re-grip, you still want to use your left index here to do the F prime. or with new meta, well, it's not really new meta, but what most people do now is they use their right thumb to do F prime like this. So it's all recryptless. So it's just RE R prime F prime RE R prime U R prime F R2 U prime R prime. And then sometimes, well, for me, I add a index finger push to make it easier. For the second solve, you did green cross, and I didn't like your cross solution, so what you did was you did a YU prime, then a rotation, then an R prime, then ever YU prime to fix the centers, R prime F, R, and then L, L. So instead, what I would do is I do D prime, U prime, R prime, F, L2 prime, D prime, and after this sets up this really easy pair, which is just M prime, U prime. And then you can insert this, and then this pair also gets made for some lucky reason. But yeah, that's what I would have done. So here, what you did after you finished your cross is, instead of doing like the most logical thing after doing L2, because here during the L2 you could easily see that this is a normal pair, and then you could just insert that normally. But what you did was a rotation here, so you did a Y, and then here it would still be fine because like you still have like so many good options here, because after your questionable cross solution, even if you rotated, you could have still done R U2 R prime, then U prime, then you'd get this like super easily F to wall, double F to wall solution. But that's not what you did. What you ended up doing was you rotated, and then afterwards you did a U prime, and then you did rotation, or you did a U, rotated, then a U prime, rotated again, then you solved this pair, and then you didn't know that you made this pair, so you ended up breaking up that pair and inserting that. Then the next pair, what you did was you did a Y prime to put this back in the front, which is, I would not recommend that. I would normally rotate to the back, and then afterwards pair this up with like that to insert. But what you did was you did a Y prime, then you fiddled around a little bit, then another Y prime, and afterwards you ended up doing this pair instead, which is a bit strange, seeing that this has been in your vision the whole time. And then afterwards, what you did was you just did a U, Y prime, and then you did a U, U, and then you inserted. So what you should have done here is, yeah, sure, you could have just rotated and then insert into the back. Or even if you did U, if you did U2 prime, then again, just learn the U2 primes. They're not that difficult. Just do a U2 prime, and then you can insert that into the back instead of doing the obviously slower U2. For last pair, you did a very, very interesting solution. So what you did was you did a U2 first, and then you fiddled around and you rotated, and then you proceeded to insert, take it back out, insert, then take it back out. So you wasted a ton of moves, then you did a U, and then afterwards you finally solved this correctly. But in the first place, you shouldn't even have done U2. You should have just done the U prime, and then this would have been able to solve this F12 here, this alpha U2L, instead of doing like RE R prime, RE prime R prime, RE R prime, RE prime R prime U, then solve this. But it's just bad habits sometimes. Then here, I know from experience, I know this OLL CP, which skips this OLL, but you did to a OLL, and then afterwards PLL, you did a U2, so you did a U2, then you executed the U perm, then you did another U2, but instead of doing that, what you should have just done is you should have learned all the back angle U perms, like either MU, which I use, or RU, which I also use sometimes. So for this case, this is a UB perm on the back, is executed like this. But the alg is super fast, it's super easy to learn. Yeah. So for this solve, we did an orange cross. So what you did was this. So that cross was decently okay, but I didn't like your last cross insertion piece because you rotated, then you inserted. So what I would have done is, again, trying to stick with the same solution. I would have done a wide U prime, R, then a wide U. But a better cross solution, in my opinion, is again orange cross, because we're not changing cross pieces. So here, if you put a red front and then green bottom, then you could just insert this piece right away. You could just insert this into the cross, then U prime, then a wide L prime, or wide L prime, R prime, G prime, then just regrip, like a soft regrip, or you could do a rolling, and then this pair will be preserved. So you could go insert that right now, and afterwards you have plenty of time to look around for pieces. So next pair I would do would be this pair, because then I could fill up 2 back empty slots. Oh, and then afterwards, by coincidence, you could just change cross colors, but I wouldn't do that. I don't know we'll solve. Like, going on for solution, you're in a bit of a not so great situation, because you rotated to insert this, which is why I recommend learning how to do this wide rotation insert, which will save moves. And I don't remember what angle it was. I think it was from this angle. So it's just same execution, pretty much. Then for this pair is you did. So you took out this corner for some reason. And then afterwards, right here, what you did is 2 reverse sledges, or 2 reverse sexy moves. Then you did a U, and then you insert it with a sledgehammer. So the sled, first off, taking out this corner was already a bit pointless, because you could have easily done this pair first, insert to the front, and then you have this pair. Or, especially from here, even after you take it out, you can still solve this into the back, and it's back left, so it's actually a pretty good case. If you do a sledgehammer here, these two will pair up. But if you're still sticking with your same solution, is U, and then to reverse sexies, here just inserting normally, this will give you a free pair. So by inserting with sledge, you essentially like made like this like super good pair into like one of the worst cases here. This is CB from later, so why I forgot to add this. I didn't add this to the doc or anything because it's a bit more complicated. So after doing your cross, even if you take this piece out, then you still pair it up. Again, notice how I said that this would pair up. If you insert this into the back, you can insert this with Y dash move. Then you get another free pair, and then you got a ZBLL. So this solve is just crazy. I don't even know how much like luck you can get like each solve. It's just ridiculous. For your second pair, what you did is you solved this pair. So you took it out with a lefty sexy move, rotated, insert. There's nothing special there. Your third pair, you took this out with R prime R prime, and then I'm not sure what you did here. So I thought you were gonna insert this into the back, and then after solve this pair, but apparently you didn't, because what you ended up doing is you ended up taking this, and then you did a Y, then you split this up first instead of inserting this. If you insert this, this is still here, but what you did is you split it up. So now you break the free pair, and afterwards just inserted. Then now you're left with a much worse pair compared to like a not that great pair, but it's pretty good for this angle pair. But you split it up, inserted it, and then for your last pair here, you inserted wrong. Then you took it back out, and after you inserted, and then again the U2 primes, like the U prime, but again U2 primes are a lot faster to look OLL. And again, I know this pure OLL, but a lot of people don't notice, but it's fine. And then here what you did is you did a U, and then the soon, or anti-soon. You should have just done a U prime into anti-soon. And again, you need to learn how to do these U2 primes because they're costing you quite a bit of time. So along with the U2 you don't do U2 prime here. So just learn U2 primes. They're so important. So anti-soon. And then after here, what you did is, I've never seen anybody, and I'm actually glad I caught this, because this is one of the worst ways to do the standard V-perm. What you normally do is you do the first 4 moves, rotate, then do this, or you can do the RUD, or the other RUD, or this RUD, but there's a lot of algs. I prefer doing this RUD, but for standard, what you want to do is you want to rotate, and then just do a Y rotation. But what you did is you did an entire entire rotation of the cube. So here what you did was and then first you had no hesitation, so you did U prime and then U prime. Yeah, it's just that this all is just learn the standard V perm finger tricks, and then it'll be fine. The finger tricks for V perm, they're not that difficult. It just takes some time to grind and get faster, but after that it should be quite a breeze to execute. So for this cross, you did an orange cross. So what you did is you started with y under front here. So what you did was a cross solution that started like this. So the cross solution was actually really planned out really well. But one thing that I like to add on is instead of doing a D, a rotation, and then an L, what I do is a wide U and then an R to make this pretty much like better. And also on top of that, instead of doing a U prime, you could just do an E prime, because this, yeah, then an R, and then after you got this pair to set up. But it's pretty difficult to see these sorts of things. But after doing your DL here, what you did is you took out this corner anyways, which is why I suggest doing an E prime, an R. Then afterwards you did a Y prime. Then you did R or R prime. Then you hesitated, so you went the wrong way. Then you solved this, and then inserted this into here. Second pair was fine. Third pair, I'm not sure what you did. So what you did was a U2, Y prime, then U, another Y prime. Then you solved this. So instead, so after solving your third pair, which your second pair, which is actually really good, you should have just canceled right into it. But what you did is you ended up doing extra moves, and then afterwards you solved it, and then you're just left with this like super easy case. And then you did sludge to orient all your edges. And afterwards here you had voila, but you actually solved this or you executed it very interestingly. So here what you did is you did R2 with your thumb up here, and then a U2. And again, this is where the U2s will come into play. The U2 primes, make sure you learn both of them, because here, U2, especially for this pi case, or U2 prime, R2, U prime, R2, U prime, R2, U2 prime, R. And it's so much faster executing like this. Oh, I dropped it. Instead of executing it like that. And for PLL, what you did is you did U prime, and then you saw it, and then a U prime again, and then afterwards you executed the R prime. But yeah, but again, like, you're getting to sub 20. I'm pretty sure that this was almost a sub 20 average. But since you recognize this, like, you should just execute from this angle, and I'll put the algorithm on the top left here. You should be able to see it. It should be like in a green text box or something. It's the standard RD alg versus this LUF algorithm. But yeah. So for your fifth and final solve, you did white cross, and I have to say, this is probably like one of the worst crosses. Well, it's third best option, because here you can see that yellow, like, you have like a super good cross. So 1, 2, 3 move ETM solution, or ATM. I don't exactly remember. That might be ATM or it might be ETM. I'm pretty sure that's ATM, but that's just a really good 3-move ATM solution for yellow. Additionally, you have this like super good orange cross. Again, 3 moves, like in like QTM as well, which is like really, really crazy. But you ended up doing white cross, and the way you did it, it wasn't particularly the best, but it was still okay. So here, what you did is you put yellow in the front. So you inserted this, and then afterwards you did X, and then you rotated back, and you inserted. So there wasn't anything wrong with it, but the way I would have executed it is, again, with the same solution. Like, I would have done here, I would have done L2, and then afterwards here, then you could just easily solve this 2gen from this case, and then it basically solves the cross. After you finish your cross, you actually made a really, really good decision in solving this pair first. So what you did was you paired it up, and then I don't know if you made a mistake or you thought that this pair belonged here, but you always insert into here, but then you realize what you're going to do. Then you put this insert in the right spot, and then you insert this. After this, you solve this pair, which is perfectly fine. And then here what you did was you did a y2 prime, and then you paired it up. You should have just canceled right into this pair, because that is the best way to execute. But you inserted it into the back using RU instead. Then tool goal, and then for PLL, this is a Y perm, as you can tell. It has two opposite, and then it looks like a Y, sort of. I don't know. But what you did is similar to solve 1, where you did the F prime with your index finger instead of using your left index finger. And this is not a very fast finger trick. So you need to really learn how to do these F prime moves with your left index finger. But it's fine. This is your fastest solve of the average anyways. So yeah, pretty good stuff.